Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
All right, good afternoon, folks. We're back in the studio with the Real Estate on the Rocks crew, and today we've got in the studio Alicia Hooper. She's wearing a little taco pennant over there. We've got Marshall Tucker throwing up the west side.
West side?
West side. And then we've got the man behind the glass, which is also known as the new guy.
The new guy.
I'm sorry, was I interrupting you? Just carry on your own conversation through the whole intro. No worries. All right, glad we knocked that out. Didn't forget to tell you. I was in the middle of telling you before I was so rudely interrupted by our gang sign thrower over here. We got the new guy, James Mendez, man behind the glass, working the controls, working the ones and twos, wheels the steels.
Pretend like he knows what he's doing. You know,
Yeah.
all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
All day.
Google makes him the smartest guy in the room. All right, let's get to it. Today we wanted to talk a little bit about hot topics.
Hot topic.
Yeah, there we go. So just kind of hot topics in the real estate industry. You know, I just spent a few hours in my truck all by myself driving up, and I finished the book. I don't know if you've gotten into this one yet, but David Goggins, the Can't Hurt Me book, the book with the Navy SEAL that's the ultra runner. Mm-hmm. Fantastic book. Have you read it?
I have not.
No, you should get into that immediately. I'll send it to you right now. I have it on Audible, so if you want to take my iPhone home, you can.
Sure.
Not.
I was like, what?
You offered.
I immediately take this back.
I completely regret my decision. All right. So one thing that I've heard, we launched a new page for the Real Estate on the Rocks podcast. So who we are really is top shelf agents, right? So that's a group that we started on Facebook. We're inviting people in. I know there's a lot of groups on Facebook. There's a lot of great information on Facebook. What is Top Shelf Agents? What's going to be different about it? More than likely, nothing, right? So this is really our community that we can control and kind of put on the content and build around the content that we deem we deem helpful to individuals getting into the business. We deem it valuable. We deem it actionable. We deem it scalable. I mean, everything that can help us in our business within the first few years, or that rising agent or that agent coming back into the business that maybe had a departure for a few years. So that's Top Shelf Agents. You can find that group on page. I really have everybody in the room right now contributing to that and posting as much as possible. There's going to be a lot of scripts there, real estate reports. We got to kind of keep that evergreen content.
Like keep you up to
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool graphics and stuff.
Yeah.
Creating.
And so, Marshall Tucker's been great at creating a few things. He's sitting down and kind of drawing things out that he sees in his head, which is a very scary place, typically. So
Thanks for bringing that to light, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool in the stuff he's doing. So we encourage you to go find Top Shelf Agents on there. The TSA will send us an invite or want to join the group, and we'll get you approved and get you in there. Just ask you a couple of those questions right off the bat. Are you an agent? Which brokerage are you with? That's really all we want to know. And then we really try to keep the negativity to a low. We love debates. We love coming from that space of contribution where we can have a logical conversation. However, we're not really going to tolerate like the negative comments that we see on some of these other ones out there that have, I think, gotten so big they're out of control.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you have 80,000 plus people in one page. I mean, you're seeing something new every few seconds. The guys that run that big page that I'm talking about are fantastic guys. I mean, I admire them a lot, and I always kind of look at what they're doing and what the example they're setting in our business, and I absolutely love it. However, somebody we knew the other day posted a comment. You told me about that. He asked a question. It was just kind of a general question. I think that my disagreement with the question was that an agent like this guy should have really known what he shouldn't have asked that question in the space. And then James over here had read the same thing. It was like, oh, he's being attacked. And so I read him back. I'm like, it's not being really attacked. However, it's kind of a logical question. It was such an elementary question to me that it shouldn't have been asked.
Something I would have asked?
No, and
even worse.
Was it with the intention to help new agents, or
maybe he was proving a point, right?
Yeah,
maybe he's proving a point to somebody that was asking him that question and say, hey, look, let me ask 90,000 people what they think, and he sure got an earful.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be in the business. I mean,
Some condescending remarks.
yeah, you shouldn't be listing property at all. And this guy's one of the top realtors in Austin, Texas. That's a hard place to be a top realtor.
Sure.
Period.
Yeah.
It's hard to be in the top 20% of the people in Austin. That's a busy
It's not hurting
town.
for business in any way, shape, or form. But it was
No.
a super low level question. And so that's what Dave and I were talking about, was like, well, is he asking, obviously not for himself, because production wise, he doesn't need to know. His response in some of those statements were, hey, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to better myself. I'm just asking to see what other people are doing. And so some people had some more snide remarks to remain, and some people just came back to like, oh, okay, well, we don't really do this. We just,
What was the question?
what do you do in your initial offer? After you receive an offer, do you communicate with the buyer's agent?
Well, no, it was a low offer, right? So let me give you the scenario.
Okay.
So he has a home listed for $400,000.
Okay.
He got an offer for $385,000.
Yep.
What do you do next? I couldn't tell kind of where he was going with that. Was it, did he think it was too lowball? Like, what was the conversation he has with that agent at that time?
Yeah.
Would be like, hey, thanks for the offer. And I would definitely plant seeds right there with that agent. It's like, hey, thanks a lot for the offer. It is rather low. However, I will submit it over to the seller. Ultimately, they make the final decision, and I'll be back to you with a counter offer. I mean, I would leave the window open immediately for a counter offer.
Yeah.
Boom, done.
And that's more depth than some people were saying. Some people were just saying like, oh, just submit the offer. Do your job, and just being more
yeah,
condescending.
the do your job stabs, all that stuff. That was just, it's unnecessary.
So some people, like you were saying, put some seeds in there. They kind of have a little conversation. Some people are like, well, I don't do anything. It's just I turn over the conversation, or I turn the paperwork in to my buyer, and then go from there, so that they don't do anything in that initial piece other than acknowledge the acceptance or them receiving the offer, and then they wait for that.
Yeah.
He was saying, well, maybe do something ahead of time, which clearly some people do, but people are in the mode of, I'm too self-important, I'm better than everybody, I need to be condescending,
Yeah.
whatever, on Facebook.
And that was one thing that bugged me too, is like a lot of people do ask questions, or they're afraid to ask questions. Like even me, I've been, and I'm, I'm always transparent with this stuff, and I don't care if anybody looks at me like I'm a jackwagon or anything. It just kind of, I don't care. However, I've held back from asking a question that I would legitimately want input on, because of those people that would just attack you on these sites. And who knows if they're coming from that space in their head of trying to attack you, but however, that's really, it's hard to, not take it out of context right there and just whatever you put. It's like a text message. There's no emotion in a text message, and
Right.
you can
And
certainly
Facebook is the
say
same
something
way,
right.
But people are adding in as much emotions as they can.
Right.
And I think it's funny because I actually recently posted, and we have a Bold group. So Bold is a program through Keller Williams, and there's a Bold Facebook group. And I asked a question on, if you have a business that is pulling over 30% from your website, please drop your website below. Well, immediately the first 3 people were super negative and said 30%. Yeah, right. Good luck with that. And I mean, just like super negative, and asking me if I knew like the 4 steps to whatever, and that didn't even pertain to my question. And then I just patiently waited. And I waited. And guess what? I got 3 different sites where they're pulling that. And then they're like, oh, can you tell us how you're doing it? And it changes the emotion or direction or whatever you want to call it.
Dynamic of the conversation.
That's
Dynamic.
the stuff that irritates me, and that's why a lot of people won't ask questions or are afraid to, and then they're going to prevent themselves from growing.
Right.
And that's one of the great things about this office. And then I was telling
And
somebody-
top shelf agents.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking more about top shelf
Yeah.
agents. No one listening to us really cares
That
about
used
our
to have to be in
office.
school.
If you just wait 2 seconds, I'll tie it back together.
Oh, Marshall has his hand raised again.
No, you're on time out.
Can you mute
No, but
Marshall's
people-
mic?
Right here.
But people will come into our office, and pop in and ask questions because they know that they can ask questions to get help that they may not want to ask in a public forum.
Oh, and we're not condescending, is what you
And
mean.
we're not, I mean, we'll crack jokes and have our, give people a hard time, but they know that they can come in and say, hey, I'm having this problem with video, with, sellers, with buyers, with anything. They come in and they get good information, and everybody is jumping out. Even Melanie with contract stuff and her processes, she jumps in there, and everyone is pouring out to other agents good information to help them grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is great about this podcast, as well as TSA, Top Shelf Agents, because we're just coming from a place of contribution where we want to share. Sharing is caring. So this is obviously our experience, our opinions, etc. There's no right, wrong way. You have to find what works best for you and your business.
Absolutely. Well, we crushed that.
Yeah, we did.
Don't be mean on Facebook.
Yeah, be nice.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of Facebook, Facebook ads, who's doing them? Who's having success with them? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm shifting how I do Facebook ads just because I've noticed with the changes in the algorithms that I'm not getting as much for my Facebook ads as I was previously. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking into online research and whoever I can talk to about Facebook, all the gurus out there.
Yeah, were you getting a good return from Facebook ads in the first place?
I was.
What? Just to let me keep kind of picking your head, picking your nose.
Ew.
Is
Get out of here.
Digging for gold.
Prospecting.
Marshall with the save. Marshall with the save. All right, so what was your return? Kind of your return on investment. How much are you spending a month?
Now, nothing because I'm figuring it out.
Okay.
So just recently, the business manager, as opposed to just going through the Facebook page, the business page, and if somebody's known that before, kudos to you, but I just recently was introduced in February to it.
Okay.
So navigating that, and I accidentally deleted my ad account.
Nice.
Yeah.
How does one do that?
Just found out about business pages.
No, I have a... Shut up. So,
I was like, what? I missed that part.
Yeah, because you weren't listening. Get off your phone. Mm-hmm.
I had to text a message to somebody.
Yeah, so
Clients.
be careful because you can delete your ad account, and that shows you all your results and everything, so I can't tell you what I was doing.
Okay, you need to stop waving that thing around.
Trying to stab somebody with a marker.
Well, I'm really frustrated because I deleted all my stuff, so I have no history.
I get it. We've had some success with Facebook ads. We were spending, I think, collectively, it gave me a total, and it was somewhere in the thousands the other day of what we've spent. And I haven't been doing that in the past 6 months because of the same thing. It just kind of keeps changing, and then I'm not keeping up with it enough. I'm not present enough in Facebook to really realize how to run them and what's changed and whatever else. I know there's guys out there just slaying it, and a lot of people, I always, you know, when
You need to get a Facebook guru in here.
you're seeing the fall of the Zillow lead. You're seeing the fall of the Realtor or the ZTR leads, right?
Right.
And so a lot of people are replacing them with Facebook. However, I don't think they understand the systems you have to have in place to work the leads on Facebook because it's not a lead necessarily. It's someone that's going to basically, it's a
nurture.
It's a nurture right off the bat. It's somebody that you're bringing into your ecosystem that you're going to bring and really kind of a topic you hit earlier was you're the digital mayor of your kind of Facebook arena and you're bringing people in. So your leads are bringing people in. They're friending them up. They're coming to your business page, and then sometimes you can go and friend them on your personal page, and you can start sending them things on their birthday or liking their comments, and all of a sudden there's some kind of like parasocial behavior between you to where they're liking you and you're getting them to know you, like you, trust you, and over time possibly they might turn into some sort of lead. I don't know how to engage that as far as return on investment. Okay, now there's gonna be a lot of people listening to this that hopefully will get some feedback over to info@realestateontherocks.com that are gonna say we're complete morons about Facebook ads and how they're killing it and they're closing $100,000 a month doing it. I hear it all the time. However, we're pretty savvy at the stuff and we're not seeing that return.
Right.
And so we kind of stopped it for a little while and just relied on the good old lead generation prospecting, you know, and so we just call our past clients and centers of influence at a high level and then bring on new clients where we can, open houses, and add to our database as much as possible. So I would say that we are business-wise, we are a prospecting-based team, and we're technologically enhanced. And so all this brand building, everything else over here is really just used as a tool when we're sticking up our hands saying, hey, look at us, look at us, look at us, we're realtors. And then we're taking the personal touch because the biggest easy button out there, everybody wants that easy button question. You know, it's like, well, how do you do it? What's the easy button? Your telephone. You know, a voice-to-voice conversation, a belly-to-belly, face-to-face conversation with people, that's the easy button on this stuff. So I'm not seeing a lot of success in the ads anymore. However, I am doing boosts right now. And so I'll take something and put it in boost. And a lot of people think that's a waste of money.
They said don't boost. Yeah, I
don't see anything on boost other than I know that people comment on things like, dude, I saw your video on Wilco Eats. You know, like, you're killing it.
We used to get 10 or 15 likes on one of the open house posts, and now I get one.
Yeah.
Hardly anything. Get more.
So
organic.
I read an article last night on Facebook that they're saying that the news feed is dying, and it's all shifting to Facebook Messenger. So Zuckerberg has realized that it's becoming very business heavy. So he's trying to position. Well, one, I was like, okay, don't allow business pages if you didn't want that to be on Facebook, right?
Right.
Whatever. But at the end of the day, Facebook is still a business, so he's going to keep that because that's how we pay for our ads, how he makes his money, etc. But they were saying that it's shifting to Facebook Messenger. So a lot of websites you'll see that they have those chat bots enabled.
Right.
That feed directly into their Facebook Messenger, which is a class I took on Tuesday. Nope, today's. Yeah, Tuesday.
Slow last year.
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting.
It's cute when people do that stuff. Oh, chatbots.
I think it's great.
So did we.
Awesome.
A year ago.
Whatever.
All right. So I'll digress a little bit. I don't think that I know enough to talk intelligently about Facebook ads. I really don't. I kind of wing it. When I posted one the other day and I was sitting there and it's just like, okay, what type of campaign is this? Awareness or this or that?
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, what do I put here? Like, I don't know.
Right.
Like, and so I start Googling it over here and just kind of, it wasn't that complicated before. And I keep getting told how easy it is. And I would say that, I rank up there in for 1 to 10 tech savvy, I'm somewhere probably about a 7.
Yeah.
And just, I'm having a hard time figuring out. And I look over to Marshall, my go-to all the time, like, hey man, why don't you show me how to run these ads? He's like, I don't even know how. You're further than I am on it. And I'm like, oh, well, that's disappointing.
Like, I'm learning the whole business manager aspect of it now, and it's just kind of
right. And so I'd like to figure it out, because I don't necessarily want to run more real estate ads. That's not what I'm looking for. I never am.
Right.
I'm never promoting our houses through that. I have the MLS and the syndication for that. I don't necessarily need them on there with everybody else's boring real estate stuff. To me, real estate content is boring.
Really?
Front side consumer facing, it's boring. Everybody's doing the same exact thing. No one's standing out to do anything different. So I like what we do to stand out to be different. Wilco Eats, pictures of food, tying it into real estate. When I'm out showing homes, I love going to this restaurant, and making it about the restaurant, but I did just sprinkle in there that I'm out selling homes or showing land or
subliminal advertising.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah.
Spell it.
SU.
Yes. I keep nailing this thing over here. Sorry about that if that kills anybody's ears in their car or earbuds. But it's my condenser mic is attached to the table and has this little vice grip looking thing.
Oh.
Anyway, I keep nailing it with my watch.
Move this way. There you go.
Well, the arm's only so big. I can step back over here, but then you won't be able to hear me. And now I just disconnected myself. All right, so now we were going to touch a little bit up on the economy. Everybody's seeing the economy looks pretty strong, especially here in Texas. That's one economy that I care about the most. I know that things start typically on the West Coast and the East Coast and start simmering. When things start simmering down out there, they start basically imploding. What was that? It starts snowing? It's raining? What are you doing over there?
We only had video.
The video edition will be coming soon as the Mevo arrives. So Marshall just has to go buy it.
You don't want mine? Sad day.
Well, it's a different camera.
That is.
Yeah, that's a cool camera we can use for other things. Mevo has to just sit in the corner and then basically just hangs out like an owl. Owl. So we're going to touch on the economy, like I said. What do you guys know about the economy right now?
Something
Nothing? Great. Everybody just shrugged their shoulders. All right, moving on to politics.
There's actually something big that just happened with the interest rates.
What just happened?
Interest rates dropped.
Okay.
Fed just lowered them, so you can, you can refinance or get in a home with a larger home potentially. I think they would drop down 1/4 or so %.
Cool. Call all your clients and talk to them about it.
Yeah.
We call that more buying power.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Wow, we're just full of lessons today. This is what happens when we come unprepared to a show.
This is why you hired me.
Yep.
Yep.
I didn't hire you. I just asked you a question. It's like, say, girl, you want to be on a podcast?
It was worth every dollar. Yeah.
You bought me tacos first. I had to say this.
So I walk into the hall. I was like, we need a fourth in here. Hey, you. Grab that mic.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about things we do know about. So you put up there, what was that? I go to the board to look because the board's actually white today. There's nothing on it. Everything's been erased.
For the future. Don't look at that.
And that's for the future. So like you said, don't erase that earlier so we don't look at it. What do? I look straight at it and start going for it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our favorite topic, my favorite topic. And when I brought it up earlier, everybody was like, oh, here we go again. Know, like, and trust. So we're talking to new agents a lot. We've done that a lot this week. Yesterday we had a call day, right? So it was the first of the month. That's a hot time for, I think we saw that there was 188 expireds yesterday, expireds and withdrawals. And so we had a little party, started at 8 o'clock in the morning. Probably should have started at 7 o'clock. A lot of people started calling about 7 o'clock, 6:30.
Some people showed up late, but
some people showed up late it was a good turnout, and everybody was calling. There was a lot of appointments made. Typically sellers that were selling their homes. We got into this with Steve Foll when we had him into the studio. He was talking about this a lot, but that last 2 weeks to a month of somebody's contract, their realtor has probably gone MIA, right? And so we know that when we call these folks. So yesterday, I know that Marshall got a few appointments. I had a pretty good conversation that was I would say would lead to an appointment. I just didn't know if I wanted it. I know that sounds kind of weird. That's what we're all supposed to be doing. However, it was...
you're at the level of production in your business where you have that opportunity. Ultimately, we all have the option to choose who we work with.
Right.
So you have the wonderful privilege of having to say no.
Right. So and I'll probably call back and cultivate it into something else. They didn't sound like they were ready or too keen on realtors right now. And he didn't say the magic word, and the magic word all he means is like, I think I'm just going to try it by myself. Right. And that puts me in the FSBO mode, which I can't stand anything more, nothing worse. FSBO ranks right up there with Zillow and Trulia with me, right? It just drives me up the wall that people just think it's so easy to go list their homes, and then we see this constantly. But I love to engage in those conversations, and I find that the most obstinate FSBO sellers are the easiest to list. Mm-hmm. Now, people might disagree with me again, and I don't call FSBOs. It's like, why not? It's because they're jerks. And it's just like, oh, cool, good. Give me their number.
That's what you believe. That's what you'll receive.
Right. Well, give me their number. I'll call them.
Yeah.
Because typically it's people that are just like me. They don't want to be sold, so I put up a facade that I don't want to be talked to or whatever else and whatever else. But if you make a couple good points with me, I'll listen.
Yeah.
Right. I hired Marshall.
He's working on your name.
I find that I got a referral the other day, and the agent warned me about the guy. She's just to let you know, he's very sarcastic, and just set up a whole. I think, lady, whenever people warn me about people, they usually turn out to be the nicest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
Right.
The best deals. They close them second time showing them.
That's right. Yeah,
awesome.
Because your experience with them is going to be completely different than hers anyway.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, fun stuff.
Don't laugh at FSBOs.
What's that?
Don't laugh at anybody, homie.
I didn't mean to. The guy caught me off guard. I was driving back to the apartment, and he calls and he's like, "Yeah, you called me earlier, left a message about my property." I was like, I called a bunch of people.
Tell me about it, sir.
I was like, "Can you tell me more about your property? Where you located?" And he starts going through it. I was like, "Oh," and it triggered where it's at. I was like, "Great, it's a nice neighborhood. I have some friends who live in the area." So we started talking about it, and I was like, "Well, how come you decided to sell by yourself instead of working with a professional like myself?" And he's like, "Well, I'm an engineer, and so I can just research everything I need to know." And I started laughing, and I had to catch myself and it threw him off.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to laugh.
So you said that
caught me off guard. No. He was still doing a bunch of repairs for the place. But it was hilarious.
So let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah,
let's talk about that segues us into a nice little conversation. No, not yet. That is a great statement.
Super common.
Yes.
For sale by owners.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So the biggest waste of time is for someone like me to call up and assume that they're going to list over the phone with me.
Yeah.
A FSBO at best is a nurture.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I think every FSBO should be approached like that. In every single conversation you should have with a FSBO, you should be offering something of value, right? And so you do want to see the house. James over here, when he first joined us, he had a very big problem with being disingenuous and using the type of script that got him into the house when he really didn't have a buyer. I really had to break it down and say, well, James, this is deep in the heart of the area that we continually represent. We always have clients over here, buyers, whatever else. So you're not being disingenuous and you're not lying. You're actually just having the conversation saying, I have buyers in the area all the time. It's my job to know the inventory.
That's right.
I would love to come over and see your house firsthand because your photos aren't that great. Now, should you insult them like that?
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, because they need to know the truth, right? You're a professional, all right? And I just think sometimes that realtors always try to put on like, the kitty gloves with people and try to finesse things over to them. I take a different approach. That's my approach. What's that?
Just afraid of like scaring them off, especially initially, which was one of the things I thought. Like if I'm honest with them or tell them like you have no idea what you're talking, obviously not in those words, but necessarily that they're gonna get upset and then they'll never talk to me again and then I'll lose.
Right, that's a mindset of scarcity, right? So
because I didn't know.
Right.
That's
so it's I can liken it to the analogy of maybe like I have a booger in my nose, right? And thank you. And so, well, I don't, but I'm using an analogy.
You might.
Well, I might. I haven't gotten digging yet. So I have a boogie in my nose, right? And you're afraid to tell me. My friend's afraid to tell me because he doesn't want to embarrass me, right? However, Alicia walks straight up and says, "Dude, you got a bat in the cave," And so I'm like, "Oh, cool." And I do this right there. It's not like I'm going to hug Alicia and tell her, "Hey, thank you." She probably wouldn't hug me with booger in my hand anyway.
No.
But I'm going to hug her and tell her thank you, whatever else. But however, I'm going to remember that she shot me straight and she was honest with me.
While James is smiling.
While James is over there trying to
smile.
Do a thing where he keeps tapping his nose, and I'm like, "No, bro, I don't do that stuff. Don't bring it to the office. Like I don't know what he's talking about over there, right?" So, it's like that's not where I get my energy from. Okay. But I think people respect a little bit more. Like you don't have the best pictures online, but you already knew that. I always try to get people to agree with me.
Sure.
And so this is part of my whole neuro-linguistic programming that I know about is always try to be shaking my head yes.
Right.
And even if I'm on a conversation with them, they can't see me. I'm still it's still in my tone.
They hear it. Absolutely.
Right. And so I'm like, certainly that you don't have good pictures online, right? Okay. And so they're like, well, yeah, I could probably do better ones. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna be using your cell phone, you might want to at least turn it sideways, and things like that. And these days, and that segues me right into another pitch. Is like, well, these days, 87% seems to be my statistic for everything. Right?
Whether it's true or not.
87%. Well, that's the great thing about statistics is 87% of them are true.
Right.
And so, 87% of them. That was a quote from Abraham Lincoln on the internet. So
I'm 87% sure it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So I start talking about that, and like 87% of all home searches start on the internet, and most people we know are visual people, and so therefore they're looking at pictures. It's kind of like the internet is the version of pop-up books for adults.
Sure.
And so now they get it.
Right.
It's like I didn't say anything profound, and I said something kind of elementary actually, and just didn't try to take it into another level that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I know that all searches start on the internet these days, right?
People
and
shop
so
online, period.
yeah, everybody that's looking on the internet, usually their search is anywhere from 8 months to 18 months out, right? And so they're hot and heavy looking. Even if they're 0 to 3 months, they're still going back to look at the pictures online.
Yep.
So I try to tell them what the importance is behind that. Well, boom, there's number one. I just added value. I told him what's going on. I told him how many people are looking at that, and now I have an out. Now he not necessarily trusts me, but will give me a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So he's willing to give me a try, right? Marshall, is that your scale, your funnel that you created? He's about to give me a try. This person, the seller, is about to give me a try where I can go over to their house now and I can take a look at it. And once I do get over there, Marshall knows he's been with me on 100 FSBO appointments where we've listed over half of them.
Right.
I never go for the pitch.
Yeah.
I never go for anything, but I do look for the tie down that can get me there, something that can tie me there, something that can put me on the wall. And it's not, once again, it's not disingenuine.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's just kind of like, oh, he's got an old Corvette. Like, my neighbor had an old Corvette growing up just like this. Is this a 68? And he's like, oh, yeah. And most people think it's a 72. I was like, oh, I know it's a 68 because of, the way the headlights are shaped. I knew it was a 68. And so something right there, now I speak his language. He loves his car. That's something they love.
Right.
And then once again, I cannot drop on him like, you like
now
me.
He likes you.
Right. So like you like me can appreciate a great car. What I just do, I told them, like Steve brought up, that I just told them that they like me.
Right.
And that's now in their head. And so now they like me. Now they're still not ready to give me a try to put a sign in the yard. They still want to try it by themselves because Larry's told them next door how easy it is to sell your own home.
Right.
And, now I can show them that Larry's not the most trusted source because Larry told him he got $350 for the house. And I have it right here that Larry closed at $335. Mm-hmm. And I was like, and these numbers are, the title company records these at the time of the transaction. And they're the ones that make sure the money gets from the buyer to the seller. So they know exactly how much was sent. So 335. So I think Larry overshot. Maybe he was trying to save face with you or something, or beat on his chest that he was able to do this all by himself. But it looked like he took a $15,000 haircut that he didn't bring up, you know? And so, and that's probably certainly he paid some sort of commission, right? Because I can see right here that there was some sort of agent involved,
right?
You know, so there was a payout to the agent too, and that wasn't the $15,000. So more than likely they paid 3% of that too. So if you're looking at that, you know, he paid over full price, over 7%. You know, for a commission where you could have saved money here or there. Now I've given him more value. Now I'm out the door. Right. So peace out. So I leave. He's in my follow-up plan. I send him a handwritten note that says, hey, thanks for letting me into your beautiful home. If I could ever be of assistance to you, just let me know. Goes in the mail. Goes in the mail early. Hopefully we'll get there the same day. In our small town, Austin, sometimes, same day, next day, second day max.
Yeah.
Right? I'll call again. Right? Now it's just a follow-up game. Now this fortune's in the follow-up. This is what we always preach. The fortune is in the follow-up. And so now I can follow up and say, hey, did you get my card? And they're like, yeah, I did. That's a nice touch. You know, my dad used to do that. My dad used to be in sales. And after every time he would do this, he would write a handwritten note. I was like, sir, that's from I learned from my dad. I had to grow up. My dad was in the insurance business and would sit there and once a month or when policies were expiring, he would sit there and write them each handwritten notes and call each single one of them. And guess who got to lick all the stamps and lick all the envelopes? This guy right here, you know? And that's probably why I don't have eyebrows anymore. Licking all that glue. But, you know, and then after that, you know, it's right there. Now we're getting a little bit closer. You know, it's like, well, you know, and hey, Larry, I'll never say, hey, give me a call. No, Larry's the liar next door.
Yeah, Larry's the bad guy.
Yeah, I don't know this client's name yet. So Larry's the bad guy. So now, once again, it's the follow-up game, and I tell them, I don't ask them to call me. Hey, I'm going to call you next week and see how things are going. I'll probably give you a call about Wednesday or so around 2.
Let you get through the weekend and see how your weekend went.
Wednesday about 2. If you get any offers in, if you need any help with them, I can certainly just look over it for you. No, that's completely free to you. I'm not trying to charge you anything or be up in your business. I just want to make sure there's a lot of moving parts to this contract. I just want to be a service to you. And if, you know, blah, blah, blah. I've also more than likely established that they're going to need help buying. Right. And so I can tie that in somewhere in there. Sure. And so it's just at this point, you know, we're at 3-4 points of contact. There might be, if there were 10 realtors that started out calling this for sale by owner, there might be 2 left at this point. Tops 3. Yep. All right. Another week or 2 more phone calls, they're done. And I'm going to be the last guy. When that FSBO is ready to throw in the towel, I'm going to be the last guy standing, ready to pick the towel up and say, I got you. That's right. Let's get in the MLS. This is what's going to go down. I'm going to put a sign in the yard for at least 3 days. I'm going to generate a massive activity just from the sign being in the ground. The for sale by owner sign's gone. Now they know there's an agent involved. Now all the agents that were driving by seeing your sign, the for sale by owner sign, they were hoping and praying that their clients don't come down this street. You know, yes, realtors act like that. They don't come down the street and see that for sale by owner and get them cut out of the business. Now they're going to be more inclined to give me a call. I'm going to start my Facebook campaigns. I'm going to put it out there to my sphere. I have over, you know, a few thousand friends online, whatever else, and I'll start putting it out to them. I'll definitely reach out to the agent community locally and say, hey, look, I got this house coming soon. If you know somebody, we're going to launch on Friday. I'm going to put you in the MLS on Thursday. Friday, we're not going to let anybody see the house. Right? We're gonna hold it for Saturday's big open house. So I'm gonna do a nice big mega open house on Saturday. This is what we do for a mega open house, and I show them everything that we do. And it's like, holy crap! Look at all this value. These guys are gonna be here. There's gonna be 2-3 agents here. They're gonna, you know, have drinks and they're gonna have some food and they're gonna do whatever and they're gonna have a big banner. Shots of Jaeger. Yeah. Every open house, that's all we do. Gotta come in, shots of Jaeger, headbutt. Get to it. Headbutt, you know, and so
in Austin is like the greatest open house ever.
Yeah.
Dave, why are you on the news?
Oh my God, Alicia, I can't headbutt anymore.
See what happened was.
Your turn. Your turn. So yeah, we gotta. So that's my FSBO plan. I don't know how we broke into that, but I found my way into it. And
because he laughed at a FSBO.
Yeah, I guess
it actually threw him off and lightened up his pushing back on stuff against talking to agents.
But follow up. Fortune's in the follow up. You got a no, not yet.
Yeah, so the whole thing was, it was for sale by owners. Don't be afraid of for sale by owners. Right. And obviously the fortunes in the follow up. None of us have a lead problem. None of us have a lead generation problem. At least I like to think that.
Sure.
You know, but most agents, they know somebody out there. They know somebody that's fixing to buy or sell, or they can do an open house. And if they don't have inventory, they can reach out to a existing open house by other agents or top agents in the office. We let people do our open houses all the time. Sure. Seen some goofy stuff about that the listing agent wants a copy of all the sellers or all the buyers that came through.
Crazy.
Yeah, stamp that out if
I provide a report, but I'm not giving the leads.
Yeah, they want the whole leads, like all their names and whatever else. Like, nah, we'll pass on that.
Yep.
So, anyway, you're giving the wrap it up sign. We done for the day?
I'm done for this episode.
Sad day.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it was good.
No worries.
Really fast.
All right. Well, this episode's brought to you by Guaranteed Rate.
That was actually pretty good.
Mike Carroll over at Guaranteed Rate. You can reach Mike for now over at info@realestateontherocks. You can reach any of us there if you disagree with us on a topic or would like us to talk about something. Please send us an email. Like I said, we were just kind of shooting from the hip on this one, and typically we're just 4 friends in a room. Grabbed a couple microphones, and we like to hammer these things out and just kind of mastermind with each other real quick. And sometimes it turns out great. Sometimes it turns out even better. So
There you go.
you need any of us. We need 5-star reviews. I will pander to that all day long. And don't forget to look us up on Facebook, Top Shelf Agents, the TSA, the real one, not that airport security stuff, the real TSA. We won't take your little mini bottles of alcohol away from you. So,
We're going to party with you.
yeah, we're going to shoot it with you and headbutt.
I'm not headbutting.
All right, Marshall's doing the YMCA. I've got to get out of this office because all of you are driving me up the wall. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.
I'm out.